The protests are also creating a major safety and security situation for law enforcement, and Mayor Eric Adams says the protesters flooding New York City campuses aren't just students.
People who peacefully protest for an issue, they're not throwing bottles and chairs. And so we know that we have acknowledged and saw across the country, there are people who come, have nothing to do with the issue, and they want to aggravate. We can't have outside agitators come in and be destructive to our city.
Yeah. Sergeant Joan Paratrice has 17 years in law enforcement, is the founder of Blue Lives Matter NYC, and he joins me now. Sergeant, good morning to you. You know, outside agitators or not, these people are in New York City. And when you see, gosh, this level of anger and hate towards Jewish people, the United States, Western society as a whole, you wonder, how did we get here? And also, are we barreling towards something really bad happening in New York City again?
Well, what's wrong is wrong at the end of the day, whether they're not from here or they're here. And I do agree with him 100%. They do come here. They're coordinated. They're orchestrated. You know, kids nowadays don't even know how to change a light bulb. To think overnight with these cadences and things like that, it is outside agitators. And they do try to get the misinformed kids to step up there and do dumb things like get in the cop's face and throw bottles and be destructive. We can't have it. And to be quite honest, he said it. Back in the day, I did march. I did protest, but you don't do it this way.
Right. What has the police experience been like with these protesters?
It's always disgusting. Cops go out there every single day. It's very easy to get hurt. You're getting people that try to push you and shove you and cross the line, say you do something wrong. There's cameras everywhere. It's not easy for them, but they have shown the utmost respect and restraint, and they're going to continue to do it.
Well, you mentioned the organization of this all, and the NYPD is apparently investigating who is funding these protests. People have mentioned that all the tents look the same, things like that. How difficult, how hard is it to get to the bottom of something like that?
It's not an easy process. We've put two and two together, and why not 10 months ago? Why not a year ago is this going on? It just so happens that we're coming up to an election and all hell's breaking loose. And it's not just happening here. It's orchestrated. It's happening in other states. And we're seeing them stop airports, stop traffic. You don't do this unless you're on some kind of system to be able to coordinate with one another.
Yeah, and then I wonder what would happen after the NYPD does discover if there is a group outside of a student organization that's funding something like this. Could they get in trouble?
Listen, you can't just stop somebody just because you think something. They have to do something criminal in order for a police officer to go up to them, right? So you kind of have to wait and watch, unfortunately, in these situations.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's also this that we have to talk to you about. So President Biden, he's going to Syracuse tomorrow for a campaign stop. But his trip is going to come a week after 2 police officers were killed in the line of duty in Syracuse. So listen to what's going on behind the scenes with the planning of this trip. In the words of Jeff Moran, he's the president of the Syracuse Police Benevolent Association. He says the department expressed their concern to the Biden administration regarding his trip and the quick turnaround of a Syracuse police officer being buried and an Onondaga County Sheriff's deputy being buried, and then the manpower that it would take and everything that our members have been through in the past week. Those concerns were expressed to the Biden administration, and the Biden administration elected to move forward with this visit. What do you think about this?
You know, we had Diller killed. We had the 2 Syracuse cops killed. We had the Chicago police officer just killed. I don't understand when this administration and this president is going to put politics aside and say, I have to be there for the families. I need to be there for law enforcement and for this country. What he should have done is put it to the side, shown up there, and in my personal opinion, after you pay your respects, after you show you care, then move forward. You know, I'm sick and tired of this. You know, you would think this president would come out and say, enough is enough. We have 2 options. Either, you know, you're going to jail for life for killing a police officer with no chance of parole, or we're going to have the death sentence. But he's not going to say that.
Yeah, well, I remember when the president said that he wouldn't go to East Palestine. He didn't want to do that because he didn't want to disrupt a community that was still in pieces. And now you have the police department in Syracuse saying we can't handle this right now. And yet, as of now, this trip tomorrow is still scheduled. Tell us about what you're doing later today.
Oh, super cool, Carly. We got Chaz Palminteri, the Child Reach Foundation, with his beautiful wife, Gianna. We're hosting a charity cigar event in Staten Island. Not only do we have Chaz, we got my friend Joe Piscopo. We got William DeMeo. We got America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani. And we're going to raise some funds for the families of cops killed in the line of duty or diagnosed with a life-threatening disease.
A charity cigar night. That sounds like a lot of fun. And you still have tickets being sold on your website?
Yes, we do. www.bluelivesmatternyc.org. Come out, have a cigar, have a drink, have some Italian food. Experience Staten Island, but get to meet these heroes and these celebrities.
For a great cause. Sergeant, thank you so much for joining us, Joan Paratrice. We appreciate you as always.